We see a lot of synchronicities happen when we are in times of transition, when we are in tune with our intuition, and just kind of when we are more noticing of the world around us. I think a lot of synchronicities happen all the time that we don't really pick up on. But when we are someone that is very in tune with the world around us, we can tend to see the synchronicities all the time. Hi, I'm Ashleigh, and welcome to the Big Crystal Energy Podcast. This is a place for the crystal curious, arcane minded, and everything in the in-between. In this podcast, we will jump down the rabbit hole into the metaphysical, esoteric, occult, and spiritual realms. Nothing is off limits. I'm a mom, wife, an orthopedic physician assistant by day, and a seeker of all things spooky and kooky by night. I've spent my entire career in the medical field, but have always felt like there is more out there, and this is where we will explore together. We will have conversations with crystal healers, rock hounds, artists, musicians, spiritual coaches, magic makers, and anything woo-woo that strikes our fancy. Let's take our spiritual journey to the next level. So grab a crystal, pour a cup of tea. It's time to feel the Big Crystal Energy. Welcome back to the Big Crystal Energy Podcast. I'm Ashleigh. Thank you so much for joining me. I decided to change my background just for fun. I'm not sure how this is actually going to come through. It kind of looks like my head is cut out, and then I'm pointing at my head and my fingers are don't really look like they're all there. It says that it's going to come through clear on the final recording, but we'll just see. I just felt like I needed a change of the background because I'm in this bedroom in my house and it's kind of boring. Like, I think some of my stuff is cool, but episode after episode, it's kind of boring to watch the same background. And I'm just not at a stage where I have a studio. So here we are in my magical room, getting ready to do this episode, which is a listener request. So from time to time, I send out requests on my Instagram. Hey, what are some topics you would like me to chat about? I would love to get any ideas that you might have for future episodes. It really helps. I mean, honestly, I have a million ideas, but if there are specific episodes that you would like for me to chat about, I am all ears. I am fully willing to do those episodes as well, because I'm here for you guys, of course. So today's episode is all about synchronicities. And I put this episode together a while ago, but then I've just had so much going on. I haven't had time to actually sit down and record it. So it's just something that's been playing in the back of my mind. When am I going to have time to do this episode? And I thought, you know what? Today is the perfect day. It's such a beautiful day outside. It just feels like magic in the air. The full moon is almost upon us. This episode, as I'm recording today, will release next week. I'm recording it about a week in advance. So, synchronicities, those magical moments that feel too perfect to be random. We'll explore what synchronicity means. I'm going to talk about Carl Jung's theory of meaningful coincidences, how quantum physics might play a role, and ways to enhance your awareness of synchronicities with crystals. I'm going to offer you a ritual, and I pulled a tarot card that I thought would be perfect for this episode. Plus, I want to hear from you. So if you think of any synchronicities that you've experienced in your life, I know we have them all the time, but sometimes we just kind of put them out of our mind. And I think it's so cool to journal about them or just remember them or share the synchronicity with a friend or family member, because it's just so neat when it happens. And sometimes they're small things and sometimes they're really big, meaningful things. And that is even more special. So if you have any synchronicities that you would like to share, please message me on Instagram or send me an email at bigcrystalenergypodcast@gmail.com. I would love to hear about them. I would love to share them on this episode. I would love to even just do a follow-up episode of listener synchronicities. That would be kind of cool too. So before I get started, I want to tell you what is really giving me big crystal energy this week. Ding, 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 ding. So you guys, I don't know if you saw my Instagram posts this past week, but I went down a major rabbit hole. I had this obsession that went kind of wild, and I made something happen that I really wanted. So I'm going to tell the story. I'm going to try to be brief. I'm going to tell the story about my new reading table that I just acquired in the past week. So there is this shop in Sacramento that it's like a shop. It's a occult museum. It's kind of both. There's things on display, but then there's also items for sale. And so the woman that is the curator, the owner, she had posted on her Instagram that she had acquired this beautiful little, what we call a reading table. So it's a table that you might see at a metaphysical shop or somewhere where you would get tarot readings. That's why they call it a reading table. Usually people are going to do some kind of tarot reading or card reading on the table. And this piece is so beautiful. It's black, it's small, petite, and then it has all this perfect bone inlay. So this table, it took a lot of time to make. I don't know the full history on it. She said that it came from an estate sale, and she said she only gets things from estates that have interesting pasts. So I don't know what exactly that means. So when she posted it, I saw this table and I knew in my heart that I needed to have this table. Something about it just called to me, and I felt such a strong pull that I needed to have this item, that it was going to help me somehow on my journey. And I'm still trying to figure out what that is, but I needed this table. Now, her shop is only open on Saturdays. And so fortunately, I didn't have to worry about people coming in and out of her shop all week and potentially buying this table, because then she also took pictures of it and sent it out in her monthly newsletter. So I knew a lot of eyes were on this table, and I knew that it was such a special piece that a lot of people would probably be wanting it as well. So I messaged her and I let her know that I was very interested in it and that I would be by on Saturday to check it out. Now, her shop opens at 11. And so I was in the morning, I'm hustling, right, to get my family out the door because I knew this table was a hot item. I knew that other people were going to be interested in it and that it was probably going to sell on Saturday. So I'm trying to get everybody going in the morning, and we didn't get out at the door on time, and I'm kind of stressing out, and I'm telling my husband, oh my gosh, that table might not be there when we get there. But also in the back of my mind, I kept telling myself, I need to use the lessons that I preach, the lessons that I am working with. And if the table is not there, then it was meant for the person that was actually the one that acquired it. So I was just thinking to myself, okay, just stay calm. But in my heart, I knew this table was meant for me. I knew that I was meant to be its new owner. And so we get to the place. It's now 1:15. The place has been open 2 hours and 15 minutes. And I was so, I documented this whole thing. I made a silly Instagram reel about my journey to get the table. So I walk into the store, and the owner, I don't know, maybe she recognizes me from my Instagram. And I said, I'm here for the table. It was still there. And she said, well, actually, you're quite lucky today because the shop has been super slow. There were a bunch of protests going on in downtown Sacramento. So a lot of people were at the protests, and, people just were not coming into the shop as much that day. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I need the table. Let me go check out the table. And it's even more stunning and beautiful in person, of course. And if you want to see pictures of it, it's on my Instagram. You can check it out. But I was just like, she's like, well, yeah, you can look at it. You can see what you think. And I said, no, it's coming home with me. It's coming home with me right now. Okay. We have to do this. So she had a couple other guests that she was checking out. And then I went and I got the table and I got it to the car, and, we left, and I was just like, yes, a score. It's mine. It's mine. I was so happy. And then we went and found this other bookshop, and I just discovered this other local bookshop that is absolutely incredible, which is another tangent all in itself, which I won't even get into because that is going to take too much time. But we were at the bookshop and I was looking around, and all of a sudden I decided to just check my Instagram, and the owner of the shop sent me a message, and she said that 20 minutes after I left, 2 ladies came in to get that table. And she said, your timing was impeccable. And I said, you know what? I just knew it was meant for me. I did kind of feel bad that the other ladies weren't going to have a chance to even see it, but ultimately I know that it was meant for my house and for me. So it's current time, I'm still trying to figure out where I'm going to put it. I have it kind of sitting downstairs near my entryway because I want to stare at it every day. And I've done the cleansing of it. I haven't really spent that much time with it because it's just been a super busy work week. But yeah, it just brings me so much joy. And I think at the end of the day, if there's something that you feel so strongly pulled toward, recognize that that's your intuition for whatever reason. I'm not really sure why I felt the need for a table. I don't necessarily feel that strong about any furniture, typically. Crystals, maybe, but furniture, no. And, it was kind of an expensive piece. So it was a bit of a splurge, right? So I'm not totally sure why this table is in my life, but I know it's there for a reading. And not a reading. Well, it is there for a reading, as a matter of fact. Yes, that is why it's there. Because it's going to help propel my readings, and I'm going to do more readings, and I'm going to use the table for my readings. And maybe then I can have people come over and do readings, and it's just going to be part of my journey. Right. So anyway, that was such a magical quest. It felt like a full manifestation of what I wanted and desired. And now it's with me. I digress. Let's get into synchronicities. Have you heard that term? I usually hear it as a coincidence. A lot of people will say, oh, that's just a coincidence. But I like the word synchronicity better because that just sounds so much more magical, doesn't it? And it's more like a meaningful coincidence, right? It's like something happens and you just can't believe that these two things lined up. Events that seem connected, even though that happens without some sort of logical explanation. That's pretty much what a synchronicity is. Right. So a big one is if you're thinking of a friend and then all of a sudden they call you, or you're going to text your husband or boyfriend or wife or whatever, and they text you at exactly the same time. I mean, those are really simple examples. And then I think more than anything, they remind us that we are just really part of a greater interconnected web of energy and intention. That's kind of how I feel. It's because it's always crazy when those things happen. A recent example, if you listened a couple episodes back, when I did my interview with my friend Angela, we had a couple synchronicities within that episode, but one of the biggest and most meaningful ones I felt was when we got to this part and she was talking about how her mother comes to her and how she's reminded of her mother every time she sees a ladybug. And so it kind of floored me because right before we recorded that episode, my kids had been coming up the stairs and saying that they found a ladybug in the backyard. And I know ladybugs are quite common, but I haven't seen any ladybugs this season yet. And the fact that they found one right before her and I got on that call, it just felt like her mother was with us. And that was really cool. And honestly, I have not seen a ladybug since that day. So that's pretty weird too. Did you know that Carl Jung coined the term synchronicity? I didn't know that until I was doing my research for this episode. Carl Jung, if you're not familiar with him, he was a big pioneer in psychology, and he has like a lot of really interesting theories about lots of different things. But he coined the term synchronicity to describe coincidences, if I could talk, that are so meaningful, they reveal a deeper connection between our inner world and our external reality. So his famous example was he had a patient that dreams of this golden scarab beetle. I'll put a post of what a scarab beetle is on my Instagram when this episode comes out. Okay, so this patient is dreaming of this beetle. At that moment, a real scarab beetle taps on the window in Jung's office when he's with this patient, creating this like huge breakthrough in the patient's therapy, right? So we see a lot of synchronicities happen when we are in times of transition, when we are in tune with our intuition, and just kind of when we are more noticing of the world around us. I think a lot of synchronicities happen all the time that we don't really pick up on, But when we are someone that is very in tune with the world around us, we can tend to see the synchronicities all the time. I see them probably every single day. I have a weird synchronicity that happens, but I don't sit with it. And I think it's really fun to sit with it. And I definitely think that if a big ones happen, it's so fun to tell people about them if you are open to that. Now, let's get even deeper on this, okay? Let's get a little bit nerdier because I love nerding out. I'm going to talk to you about quantum entanglement and the science of connection. So, I have my notes here, all right? And I'm a huge quantum physics fan. If you guys don't know that about me, I freaking love reading books on quantum physics and particle physics. I have nerded out about this stuff for the longest time, since probably I was in my early college years. And I got, oh gosh, what was that book? My first book on quantum physics. I have to remember it and tell you guys about it. I still have that book, and it just totally blew my mind. So quantum physics suggests that at a fundamental level, everything in the universe is connected. Quantum entanglement, it's when two particles become so connected that a change in one instantly affects the other, no matter the distance. So what if our thoughts, our emotions, and our intentions work similarly? Some believe this explains why we experience synchronicities. Our energies interact with the universe in ways we don't fully understand. Like, that's why they say, I'm probably going to say this wrong, but it's kind of like if something happens at a period of space time, like a period of space and time, then, you know, you feel this effect so much later. And maybe that's sort of kind of like, I don't know if that's kind of like the butterfly effect too, but the universe is so connected on such a deep, profound level. I mean, at the end of the day, our bodies are just made of atoms and cells, right? And we're just like these conglomerations of things. And so and all these little cells are bouncing off of each other, and they come together to make the matter and the mass that is us as humans. So it seems kind of weird that all of it wouldn't be interconnecting. These little pieces are just flying around in the universe. So of course we're all interconnected, and we can feel those changes. It comes through us. It comes through everything. So there are some specific crystals that we can use to enhance synchronicity awareness. I'm going to offer 4 different crystals that you could potentially use. These are ones that are relatively common. Of course, since we see synchronicities more often when we are in touch with our intuitive side, an obvious crystal would be labradorite. I have a beautiful little specimen right here. Look at that gorgeous. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm showing examples of the crystals that I'm talking about. So this piece has this gorgeous blue flash to it. And then it's just kind of raw on the back, but you can still see the flash within the rawness here. This side is polished and this side is raw. So pretty. Sometimes I just can't talk. I cannot get my words out. Honestly, I have to tell you, I think it's because we are leading up to a full moon. Saturday is a full moon, and I have been feeling it. I have totally been feeling it. This week has been such a struggle bus at my house. Myself, my husband, we've been so exhausted, totally drained of energy. My oldest son has been having tantrums and meltdowns every single night. And I just feel at a loss. I don't know how to get things back on course, but I'm just hoping that the full moon will happen and then the energy will shift and then we'll get back on course. That's what I'm just fingers crossed. Anyway, so labradorite, as I've talked about in multiple other episodes, it's really great for enhancing intuition. And if you carry it with you, maybe it will help you recognize synchronicities that you see around you. As I talk about a lot, labradorite is my crystal of the year, so I pretty much always have some with me. And so maybe that's why I've been seeing synchronicities more often than I typically would. Amethyst. Oh, I have a big piece of amethyst right here. Big, chunky, juicy amethyst carved heart. So it's the beautiful amethyst on the front and then just the back. I put this on a stand because it's so beautiful. Amethyst heightens our spiritual awareness. it connects us to a higher wisdom. If we are in a period of time where we're really going through some spiritual changes and shifts, it's really lovely to have amethyst with us. Maybe put it by your bedside table. Here is my amazing piece of celestite that I got that really started my spiritual awakening, essentially. I got this piece in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Gosh, it'll be, is that right? Almost 3 years ago? 2.5 years ago? Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I got this piece in Santa Fe, New Mexico on a girls' trip. And this particular piece is really the catalyst for so many things in my life. It helped kickstart all of this. It helped my spiritual kind of reawakening. It helped me dive into crystals. It helped me find a more metaphysical path. It prompted me to start the podcast, all of the things. So this particular piece of celestite means the absolute world to me. I always have it around me. This stone in particular aids in receiving divine messages and noticing signs from the universe. And I find that to be 150% true, because when I got this stone, I just started having this influx of downloads. Things started flowing in. I started getting ideas. I started feeling creativity coming back. I started feeling myself coming back. It was not an overnight process, but it definitely started once I started working with celestite. And now, of course, celestite is one of my favorite crystals. I collect it. I usually try to get a piece when I'm on a trip or something if I find a piece that I really like. And I think it's just so beautiful. The color is dreamy. It makes you feel like you're in a dream. It makes you feel connected to the sky and the universe. And I just live for celestite, or celestine. You could call it that as well. And then I also have a little piece of moss. Ooh, I got to hold this up right in front of me because this background is crazy. I don't know if I'm going to use this background again, but moss agate, it's kind of green, a green color, and it's great for helping you ground, helps you ground your spiritual insights into your daily life. It helps incorporate your spirituality into your daily life. And I think of that as because it's called moss agate, it's something like moss, how it sticks, it sticks to the sides of trees or it sticks on rocks. So this is kind of like that. If you carry the moss agate with you, it helps you connect your spirituality to everything around you. And I really feel like that's pretty cool. So you can take, tumbles of these stones with you wherever you go. Maybe you have a desk at work, or you have your bedside table, or somewhere where if you're working on building up seeing synchronicities or working towards tapping into your intuition more, you want to set up these crystals. I love these crystals for all the reasons that I gave, but also because I feel like they're relatively easy to find, and I would say relatively inexpensive. I mean, obviously, this big piece of amethyst I have was a little pricey, but totally worth it. It's such a vibe, right? Such a vibe. So I have this little ritual to help you tap into your synchronicities. It's a little intention setting candle ritual. So you can have a purple or blue candle. I have this little light blue candle. I love these little candles because I feel like, you could probably do 1 or 2 rituals off of one of these small candles, and you can find them anywhere. You can get a box. I usually get a box of, I'll go to a metaphysical store, and they usually have a box that has the rainbow of colors, and then you can get a bunch of them, and then they will last for a while for your different rituals or spells or whatever that you're doing based on whatever's going on in your world. So I'm going to take this blue candle and I'm just going to light it just because it feels fun to do this right now. And then you can hold whatever crystal that you choose, whether it's one of the ones I talked about or something else that you feel drawn to. And you can hold your crystal, you can close your eyes, and you can just say, I am open to receiving meaningful synchronicities. I trust the universe's guidance. Simple as that. And then maybe just sit and meditate on that. If you have a journal that you like to write in, just while you're sitting there thinking about it, meditating on it, maybe think about any signs or symbols or repeated patterns that you've been noticing. And then keep writing things down over the next week. Maybe just try it for a week and see how many different things kind of manifest themselves over the week while you're doing this synchronicity journal. I think that's kind of fun. So I'm going to set my little candle over here and I'm going to let it keep burning while I finish going through this episode. Because honestly, who doesn't love a candle, right? I mean, a candle is always good. A little flame always makes me feel lovely. I wanted to pick a tarot card for this episode. I love to pick tarot cards because not only does it help you, it also helps me learn the tarot better. And so I thought that I would pick one before we started. So last weekend, when we went to this bookstore that I found, such a cool place. They have all these book clubs and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to join a book club. I can't wait to, meet new people there, all these things. So as I was walking around, I found this tarot deck and I told myself, no, I'm not going to buy any more tarot decks this year. Well, shit happens. And I bought a deck because it's one that I've been wanting, right? So I'm going to show you here. It's called Queer Tarot, an inclusive deck and guidebook. Now it's LGBTQ plus, and I don't identify as that, but I definitely am open to everybody. So I think this deck is super cool. And I love that it highlights LGBTQ plus. And not only that, but the deck is just absolutely fabulous. The colors are so beautiful and vibrant. And I'm not getting paid to say this. I'm just saying this because I think it's freaking awesome. So this deck, it was made with this artwork called risograph. It says, these cards are extra special because all of the original artwork was printed on a risograph. Risograph machines are these wild duplicators from Japan that look like clunky copier machines you would find in an office. They were originally intended for mass printing in single colors, like for flyers or letters. Within the past decade or so, risograph printing has taken an artful turn and is now evolving into a wonderful and experimental new way to produce art using soy-based inks, some of which are fluorescent or metallic. So this deck is printed in this particular way. And the card that I chose for this episode is the Wheel of Fortune. It's part of, this card is one of the major arcana, number 10, the Wheel of Fortune. And this deck, I love the colors. All the cards are similar colors and just the graphics are beautiful. The symbolism is beautiful. It does sort of follow the Rider-Waite-Smith, the traditional tarot deck, but it has its own twist. It has a beautiful guidebook, which I think is fabulous. And there's just something about it. Like, not all tarot decks we connect with, but this one I totally connect with. And so the Wheel of Fortune, it represents divine timing, fate, and unseen forces at play in our lives. So I thought that was super important with this particular card, with this particular episode. If you see this card in a reading, it often means synchronicities are unfolding and you need to pay attention. It reminds us that everything happens in cycles and that sometimes life presents perfect moments of alignment. And I think that's pretty neat. So once again, the Queer Tarot, it's by Ashleigh Bodell and Chess Needham. I'll link this deck in the show notes. But if you're into tarot, I would really recommend it because it's just such a cool deck. And the colors are so cool too. I'm a sucker for good marketing, good colors. The whole vibe has to be right. Because sometimes we get decks and we just don't, maybe we like the art, but then we just don't really connect to the deck for whatever reason. This is both for me. I not only connect to the art, but I also really connect to the deck. So another example of this would be, I have a deck called, I have a Beetlejuice deck. It's a really cool deck, but it's really hard for me to connect to the images because it's totally different than the traditional tarot. And so it's just more challenging. Anyway, so I'd love to hear your stories of synchronicities. I would love to have you send them in or share them with me. Try the ritual. Try working with some of these crystals. Let me know how that works for you. If when you work with the crystals, if you notice more synchronicities in your life, it's kind of like one thing I think of. It's like you get a new car, right? So for example, last year we got a Chrysler Pacifica minivan. Oh yeah, baby. We did, right? I call it my broomstick. And then it was like everywhere I looked, I would see Chrysler Pacificas everywhere. And I thought to myself, have there always been this many Chrysler Pacificas on the road? Have there always been this many people flying around on broomsticks? I never noticed this before, but now all of a sudden I see everybody flying around in their broomsticks. So it's kind of similar to that. So see how these things start appearing in your life, right? And I would love if you could follow Big Crystal Energy on social media. Follow me at mystical.mama.ash. I'm trying to grow my Instagram account. It is very difficult. Social media is so hard. It's so hard. And I don't really, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything about marketing. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just trying to figure it out one day at a time. So if you liked this episode, I would highly, highly love it if you could just rate and review, especially on Apple Podcasts. It makes such a big difference getting these episodes out and seen. I am heading out this weekend for my annual girls trip. We are going to Park City, Utah. One of the gals that was on my podcast a couple weeks ago, Angela, she is one of the girls that will be on the trip with me. I am hoping that we can do a collab episode, all of us girls, because we're all woo-woo and we all love the mystical and the magical. And I don't know, I've been trying to think of what an episode is that we could record. I've been talking to the girls and I said, Saturday night is a full moon. So I said that I would put together a full moon ritual for us that involved a hot tub and champagne. And I think that's going to be really cool. And oh my gosh, it's just going to be so beautiful to connect with them because we've been friends for such a long time and we've been through so many of life's ups and downs. And there is something to be said for friendships that you've had for a huge portion of your life and you've gone through so much with these people. It's really beautiful. And these girls just fill my cup so much. And I'm looking forward to just getting away from my kids, honestly. The struggle has been so real lately. So that's where I'm going to be. And I will be just gone for a very short period of time, but I will be checking in on everything while I'm gone. But thank you for tuning in. Remember, the universe is always speaking. We just have to listen. Keep your heart open, your crystals charged, and your intuition sharp. Until next time, stay magical. Bye. Thank you so much for jumping down the rabbit hole with me. If you connected with this episode in any way, I would love it if you could share it with a friend. Also, please tag me on social media. I'm at mystical.mama.ash or at Big Crystal Energy Podcast, mostly on Instagram. It helps so much getting my episodes out there and finding more magical, kooky, and spooky friends. Sending you all Big Crystal Energy. Cheers!